Howdy folks, welcome back to the channel. This is war number 8 of season 48. So if you saw my last video, had a little rant, didn't really show the footage, but we're back to normal for this war. Alright, so let's just jump right into it. On this path, let me just scroll back to the beginning of this video. First fight is going to be against Iron Man Infinity War, who I think in past seasons used to see quite a bit on Path 4 just because of the increased defensive ability accuracy, so I have to watch out for his armors a bit. Our friend Cosmic Ghost Rider, the Tactic Defender, who has some tricks in this meta, is showing up again on the second node. Then we have Spider-Ham, who is definitely one of the more frequently seen defenders on this path, and then Knull, just like Spider-Ham, a very popular pick on the final node. We're going to take 2 minis today. The first is this Gladiator on Hazard Shift. It's a rank 2 7-star Gladiator. And then we're going to have our second attempt. Some of you may have seen earlier in the season I tried out this Adam Warlock on this very same node and gave up a death. Going to see if we can try to avenge ourselves this time around. And this is, again, I think just like this previous time, it's a duped 7-star rank 2. Okay, so the first fight is going to be against this Iron Man Infinity War. Really the only trick to him, he's not a tactic defender. The only reason why I think he shows up on Path 4 is that the nodes do give him increased defensive ability accuracy. So that I think that means that his armors will be proccing more often. So that's really the only trick to Iron Man Infinity War, right? Is that you have to avoid that auto block when his armors hit 4. So I'm just going to take my usual MVP for this path, which is Elsa Bloodstone, and the game plan is going to be just basically watch out for those armors, right? That's really the only trick to this fight. She should have the firepower to be able to shut him down pretty quickly. All right, so let's see how the fight goes. Get that initial special evade parry. You can see that he already has 2 armor, so I'm being a little bit kind of cautious here. He went to 3 briefly. Now he's down to 1. I think I'm going to let this expire before I start attacking again. Okay, so now I finally get the parry. Go ahead and attack. Decided to go ahead and launch the special even though he was at 2. And so he throws his special. He's already down to 50% health because Elsa is just a monster on this path with those additional Furies. Alright, so now he's in that special phase. I'm going to have to wait out this armor. He's going to throw some specials because his special is continuously gaining while he has an armor, but now they're expired. But now watch what happens here. So I parry, not realizing that she does a little hit on her evade, which actually gave him armors, which then caused him to auto-block me, which did quite a bit of damage. So now I've got to wait all that out. I've got this shock on me, which is doing not a lot of damage, but an annoying amount. Now I'm being very cautious. I could have attacked him there, but I didn't. Now I see I'm only going to attack once after every parry, which is, again, a little bit overcautious, but no real problem. Now he's down. So annoying, that's going to cost me some potions, but there wasn't really any danger in that fight. Okay, on to number 2. So CGR is a defender that I died against earlier this season. I was using Domino, and the problem was that on this node, he's going to get Furies, which automatically completes one of his judgments. So then if he happens to throw a heavy or dex and attack, that means he's going to proc damnation on me. But this time around, it's a much smaller Ghost Rider. I think this is a 6-star rank 4. It's like Sig 90 or something like that. But just to be extra cautious, I'm actually bringing someone in just for this fight. And that special someone is going to be my 6-star rank 4 Hood. I don't love bringing in 6-star rank 4 attackers, but he's such a strong counter here, it really shouldn't matter. And again, I'm only using him for this one fight. So I'm going to be depending on his Fate Seal and also his staggers. I don't put the staggers in the game plan because, you don't have any control over when you crit and therefore getting a stagger. But through the combination of staggers and Fate Seal, that should prevent his buffs, which should prevent his judgments, which should make this a very straightforward fight. Hood is also a tactic attacker, so I can easily deal with the tactic that the defense imposes. I do want to just kind of be absolutely kind of safe here, and because there is some defensive ability accuracy reduction on the node, I think for every buff that you have up on you, or every debuff you have up on you, I just want to make sure that I'm not depending on miss. So I'm not going to be doing the usual hood style of going invisible and then triggering some misses to reclaim my bullets. Again, I'm only going to do this one fight, so I don't really care about saving bullets. So let's see how that works out for us. He does put us, since we're a villain, he is putting an armor break at the start of the fight. That really doesn't matter. So he was staggered, which is good. So we do have 4 judgments up on us, but I'm really not too concerned. I'm going to clear out these indestructibles. I'm going to fire off this L2 at the earliest convenience. He's fate sealed. That should help me out quite a bit for the rest of the fight. I did ignore my own advice and I triggered a miss, but I think it was... I have to reread the note and see exactly under what conditions I have reduced AAR, because that might have not been safe, but in any case, it worked out. I've got some staggers up on him, so he heavies, it doesn't matter. And now, even though he's at 2 bars, I know that I can finish him, so I just go ahead and throw it and finish full yellow bar. So certainly not a fight to emulate every single detail of, but you can see that even with some sloppiness and some mistakes, Hood is a very strong counter for that fight. Okay, on to fight number 3, which is against the Spider-Ham. Again, he shows up a lot, so we're not really going to belabor this too much. The real problem is that he's inflicting a debuff on you on the activation of his L1, so that means he is going to be going unblockable periodically. But Elsa is going to just purify those debuffs for us. If he happens to get some poppers up on us, she can just purify those as well. So the game plan is fairly straightforward. It's basically just make sure we don't have any poppers up on us when we throw our specials. Otherwise, it's just, yeah, try to watch out for that unblockable, which is going to happen here and there. Wait for it to expire, and then we should be getting our own unblockable by purifying debuffs, which we can use to quickly nuke him down. Okay, so let's see the fight. And I'll say at the outset that the other good reason why Spider-Ham is here, even though I think this one is only a 6-star rank 4 as well, but even at that level, he hits so hard that it only takes one mistake to really ruin your day. So far the fight's going very well. I fired my L1 right away so I don't let him build up Spider Sense. I know that he's going to go unblockable when he triggers this. So I'm just going to try and get out of the way. And even though I'm evading like mad, he still catches me on a dashback, which is just, I don't know, extremely frustrating. So it does like 30% damage. That hurts. But I don't think... No, I am still using Elsa for the next fight, so spoilers. But that means more potions I'm going to have to waste here. But again, 45 seconds, 43 seconds actually, this fight is over. So it's a quick fight, but it's also a dangerous one. So I paid the price there. Anyway, we'll heal up and go on to this final fight of the path, which is against this Knull. As I said again, he is a very popular placement here. Just because he puts all those debuffs on you right at the start of the fight with every single special 2, and if he throws a special 1, it's a little bit tricky to evade, and even if you do, then you have to worry about him potentially inflicting reverse controls on you once corruption hits. So I've taken this fight a few times with Elsa. I'm going to try it again. I don't think I've ever died to Knull, knock on wood, on this, at least during my time with this team, my current alliance. I have had some close calls. I think I had one fight with Nick Fury where I almost died. But in any case, what we're going to do is just let those debuffs expire before attacking, and just hard hold block so that he doesn't throw any L1s. This is a 7-star Knull, but a low sig one, so I don't have to wait around too long. The one trick with using Elsa, which is why I sometimes go to Nick Fury instead, is that if he's very high sig, then it just takes a really long time to purify all of those, what are they called, Living Abyss debuffs. So, you know, that can be annoying, but in this case, with low sig, it's only going to take a few seconds. Okay, so on to the fight. And actually, I'll spoil this one as well. This is the best fight against Knull I've ever had. And so if I ever fight him again, which I almost certainly will as long as I'm on this path, I'm going to rewatch this fight for inspiration. So I'm making sure to kind of hold him to just below a bar of power before I'm ready to start an onslaught, meaning that I have like a special or a, what is it called, the striker waiting. So because of that, and I hard-held block, I'm able to get him to L2. I'm going to bait this out. I'm just driving him back a little bit to get some distance. Do the evade of the L2. I'm going to let those 9 armor break debuffs just expire so that his unblockable goes away. I'm still unblockable, so I'm going to abuse that to get my opening. Again, I'm going to let him get close to a bar of power before I start my onslaught. Probably could have done a little bit better there, but here... So I go ahead and, fortunately, he didn't throw. I throw mine. He's at 2 bars, so 1 more special to bait. 10 more armor break debuffs to just wait out. And there we go. So now I can use my unblockable again, get him to just under 1 bar of power. And now I'm going to start the final onslaught. Let's see. This should just about kill him. That was a lot of damage in that string of attacks. So he's not quite dead yet. But, yeah, 1 more special. I figured he was either going to tick out on his own, or it's just going to take 1 more special. Alright, so I'll wait this out. A little bit longer than it needs to be, but still extremely clean. So, full yellow bar. Like I said, pretty proud of how that went. That was me sticking entirely to the game plan, for the most part. and succeeding as a result. Okay. So the 5th fight is going to be against this Gladiator. I have this fancy spinning animation here. This is actually just kind of a side note, but when I had originally, some months ago, mocked up these info sheets, this was what I originally wanted to do. And I had actually made this Gladiator animation for my tests back then, but it just took too long to create those animations, so I went with just the static pictures. But since I had this lying around, I figured I might as well throw it in. If you think this is cool, you'd like to see me use it more, it's still too time-intensive to do for every single one, but maybe I'll try to do 1 or 2 for every war if people like it. But in any case, as far as the actual details of the fight, this one should be a fairly straightforward one. Gladiator's not much of a defender. He is tactic, but this is, yeah, the Incinerate Poison node, and he will be stun immune on this node, which, you know, for Gladiator, doesn't really matter that much. So I'm going to come in with Kushala. Pretty much brought her in just for the mini-boss fights. So the idea is that she's only Incinerate immune, so I'm only going to attack him during the Incinerate phase, for the most part. But I think that's actually what kind of tripped me up in a previous Hazard Shift fight, is that I was being a little bit too anal about avoiding the phase of Hazard Shift when I'm not totally immune. And you don't have to be that cautious. You can go ahead and afford to take, you know, a few poisons here and there. So I'm going to try to mostly attack during the Incinerate phase. I'm just going to do the standard Kushala loop, which is start with an SP2 to get the soul barb up, and then spam SP1. And just to be extra cautious, because his L1 is a little bit annoying, he triggers Unstoppable off of it, so I want him to only throw L2s. So to make sure I don't get caught with him being at a bar of power during the poison phase, I'm just going to try to make sure that I finish the Incinerate phase when he has either less than 1 bar or more than 2 bars when that hits. Alright, but I think this is a fairly, at least conceptually simple fight. Let's see how it goes. So I go ahead and beta heavy, get some openings. I'm getting some ignitions up on him. That was a little bit of a risky intercept, but it worked out. So I'm hard holding block so that he doesn't throw that L1. Bait the heavy, and now I'm going to throw... Oh, I didn't throw my L2, so I'm going to bait his L2 first. I practiced these dexes first, and they're fairly easy once you practice a few times. So I'm going to clear out that Indestructible. Unfortunately, at this point, I've gone to 3 bars, which I didn't really want to do, but it's not like it's a disaster. So I'll go ahead and throw this. I don't know if I had any spells up, maybe 1 spell up, so it's not really going to do a lot of degen damage. Pretty cool animation. Yeah, so... Oh, 3 debuffs. Okay, so I actually had more than I thought. So those are doing fairly good damage, but now an Indestructible does hit. So I'm going to let him throw this. More Indestructibles, but I know I can clear them out pretty quickly. Just have to wait for a block. Fortunately, he actually could have gotten me in some trouble there, but he backed off, gave me the opportunity to clear out the Indestructibles, and now I can soul barb him again. And... Oh, I did have a power back boost up because I wanted it for the next fight, so Even though my game plan was spam SP1s, it's actually kind of spam SP2, as it turns out. So now he's low health, I'll just go ahead and finish him during the poison phase, and easy fight in the bin. I do have to heal up a bit, 18%. It's not the worst, but I've already used a number of potions, so this was a fairly expensive war for me. So this last fight, again, it's Adam Warlock on this kind of annoying node where there's a bunch of different effects. There's this feat of vigilance, so he's going to be getting some buff, I think, when I hit a bar of power that causes him to prevent any missing on his side. Power efficiency, which is kind of the most annoying part. So he's really going to be spamming specials because he's not consuming all of his power to throw specials. Missing in action, so if I don't knock him down or hit him with a special after a buff expires, then I'm going to get faltered. But if I can hit him with a heavy or a special within the timer range, then he's going to get faltered. But again, he has that vigilance, potentially has the vigilance buff, so I can't depend on that. And then finally, he has tactic. So I died because last time I got into trouble where he started just repeatedly spamming specials, got me in the corner, I was faltered, and there was really nothing I can do. So that's what I want to kind of prevent this time around. I'm using the same attacker that I used the previous time, which is Kushala. And I'm going to just try to be more mindful about the buffs that he has up, and keeping the amount of distance that I want, making sure I keep some spells up, and trying to spam the SP2. So this time around, I don't want to bother with the incinerates. Ideally, I'm just throwing L2 after L2, soul barbing him, clearing out the indestructibles if they pile up, and just making sure that if I am faltered, just evade, and clear out the indestructibles later once I actually have some clearance. All right, let's see how that works out. It's still, I think, a fairly weak game plan. I have a low probability of solo, but I wanted to try it out. I want to get used to this fight, because you do see Adam Warlock here quite a bit. All right, so the fight starts, and get my early parry and the heavy, so I get a couple spells up. I do it again, so now I have 4 spells up. Get an intercept. So things are going well so far. I'm building to my L2. Cautious of that unblockable there. Now, here's something interesting, is that I had an indestructible up, but he starts throwing his L1s, which I usually have no problem at all evading, and he gets me on both of his first L2s. So I've already used, 2 hits of my indestructible, and now that's the third one, is that it's completely gone, and I don't know what's going on, that, usually I'm good at that. I don't know if Kushala has a little bit of a reduced dash back distance, which makes the timing a little bit different from what I used to, but in any case, I did dodge that last one. So now I do have my soul barb up. I go ahead and probably unwisely throw the L1. It is doing some decent damage, but now he's indestructible. Gonna go into this. Even though he's in his pod, I did throw my heavy just so I wouldn't get faltered. And now watch what happens. He goes into his pod, he starts attacking me.
I'm like, what?
So that totally threw me for a total loop. That should not happen, so that's a very unfortunate bug. So now I'm totally flustered. I'm still decent on health, but now he's got me cornered. He's indestructible. I'm constantly being faltered. I'm trying to do the best I can, so I do actually get a heavy in there, so he gets briefly faltered. But he's still got a lot of power. I'm going to try to hit him just as he comes out of this, but it doesn't work. And now he's going to tag me, and now I'm in real trouble. Because he's in sovereign mode, and yeah, it's just it was just one thing after another at that point, and unfortunately I gave up to death again. So yeah, had to use a lot of items this war. Go ahead and heal up. I'm just like, okay, you know what, I got bitten by a bug there. Somehow I lost the ability to dex L1s, but let's just get that under control. This should be a straightforward fight. Or not, it's not a straightforward fight, by any means. Let me take that entirely back. But if I just have my wits about me and just take it slow and steady, I should be able to get through. So I saw the approaching falter, but I am able to get the special in before that expires. So now it's doing quite a bit of damage. Fortunately, I'm able to get out of the way of that L2 without triggering indestructible. I let the pod expire. Clear out the indestructible, and I'm going to throw another L2, And finally, that should be done. I don't think when I was doing the fight, I noticed the falter timer expiring, so I think that was some lucky timing there that I threw the special just in the nick of time. But in any case, you can see that during the cleanup, it went pretty well. That's the way it's supposed to go. So if I ever do take this fight again, I'm going to have to study carefully that first fight and the second fight and just see exactly how am I potentially getting myself into trouble and what should I do? How should I alter the game plan so that I don't get into trouble? All right, so it was another one death war, which you don't like, but that's about on average, I guess, what we're kind of shooting for. Not that actually, I shouldn't say what we're shooting for because we haven't formally announced what our target is for a number of deaths, but just based on what I observe, if I'm taking the kind of volume I am and I die once in a war, that's about average. So I can't be too disappointed. I want deathless wars, but I'll take a one death war where I take 2 minis. So this particular war, it was a tier 3 war because of the disaster of the previous war. Let's not dwell on that, but this win should get us back up into tier 2. So a good strong win. I think we were feeling fairly confident about this one from the beginning. We had a not huge lead, but a decent buffer on them from the very outset of the war, and it kind of continued all the way through. So good job to all my teammates. It was a good bounce back war for us, and hopefully the next war will be another one where we continue building momentum. All right, so that's going to do it for today. Please do like and subscribe, usual spiel, give me any kind of feedback in the comments if there's anything you think I can learn from. Okay. See you all later. Have a good day.